Welcome, Chosen One.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ace of Plays channel and another video in my new starter deck review series. I've only done 2 of these so far and my throat is already telling me to go kill myself. I got 3 more to go, so we're just going to push through. And yeah, this video is a monster deck. The monster deck starts you off with Eredin Briac Glass, the Glass Breaker, with the order of boosting an allied unit by 3 and giving it a shield. 2 charges, so you can do this twice. You can do this twice in 1 turn. You can do this, once in round 1, once in round 3, however you like. If you give an allied unit a shield, that basically means that the first instance of damage, be it 1 damage or 10, is negated. So you can use this to protect your units. Now, Eredin is... wow. Eredin, Break a Glass, is considered by many to be a useless leader because his ability doesn't really do much. Like it boosts by 3 and gives a shield. Not a lot of people care about that, but it's a very he's very general. Like you can use him with like any card because he gives you these points and he gives you these shields. That's what he does. He has 16 provisions, so he's more flexible than, let's say, Gurnakora, which has 11. And I think he's okay. Like he just got his boost up to 3. He used to boost by 2, now it's 3. So he's, I don't know, 6 points and 2 shields. That's actually pretty decent value for his provisions. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe he'll actually find his place. But moving on to the cards. The first one is Old Spirit Tip Asleep. No ability, just 9 points for 10 provisions. Just being able to put down 9 points, like boom, 9 points, is really good. It's worth 10 provisions. In this particular deck, this card has some synergies, but in other decks, this card has a lot of synergies. So this is a great monster card to have. So getting it for free is pretty awesome. And even in this deck, like, it's a good card when you play it, and it has synergies later, so it is good. But in the grand scheme of things, it's even better. What am I even talking about? Let's move on. Geralt of Rivia. He's an old starter decks. Really good card. It can kill an Old Spirit Tip Asleep if you're in a mirror match. Or it can kill something bigger. Like an Osril. Osril's a pretty cool card. It can consume a unit from your opponent's graveyard, which means like you banish it, like remove from the game, and Osril will boost itself by its power. Or you can do it from your own graveyard. So if you have a Spirit Tip in your graveyard, you can play Osril for 10 points, which is really good. If you're playing against your opponent and he has, Old Spirit Tip not asleep in his graveyard, you can eat that. And it's 13 points. Osril generally is good, and we have a couple other cards in this deck that are good to consume with him, so it's a good card. Thunderbolt Potion, I don't really know why this is here. Now I do, after thinking about it for like 1 second. It's an artifact, which means that it goes on the board, but it doesn't have power like a unit does, and it can't be destroyed by damaging effects. It has 2 charges of boosting an ally unit by 3, so it's basically Eredin without the shield. I'll get back to how this is useful, because we'll get to it later in the deck, but you might think about it as 6 points for 8 provisions, that's bad, but the fact that this is not a unit, and you can hold off on its effect as long as you want, that has, value in and of itself. So this is a good card. In an optimized version of this deck, though, I don't think this card is in it, but it's fine. Lacerate, it's just good value. Like, if you hit 4 or more units with this, it gets good points for its provisions, and that's about it. That's what it does. You can finish off a long round with this and get a lot of points, which is what you want. Griffin, 8 points for 7 provisions. Looks good. Destroy an ally unit on this row. If there are no units, destroy self. So it's not going to be 8 points. But you can use it to destroy some of the smaller units. There are like a couple of units further down the line that you can destroy with this and not really lose any value. Griffin is definitely better in other monster decks. Like there are some monster decks where you definitely run Griffin. Not really Eredin, but the fact that it's 8 power is relevant, and we'll get back to that later. Nithral, we'll actually get back to it now. Nithral is one of the best artifact removals in the game. Remember artifacts? If your opponent has a Thunderbolt and he hasn't used it, you can just destroy it, and you get like 11 points of value. And now Nithral has a keyword, Dominance, that a lot of units in this deck have. Damage adjacent enemy units by 2. So like this effect is pretty self-explanatory. With Dominance, trigger this ability if you control another unit with the highest power on the battlefield. Which basically means that if the highest, like the biggest power unit on the board is on your side, or it's tied, but at least one of them is on your side, then your dominance is triggered, and a lot of your cards get extra effects. So this is why old Spear Tip is good, because 9 points on the body, really good. Griffin again, 8 points. Not a lot of decks beat this, just like that. Like they have to work for it. And Thunderbolt Potion can be used to make, your units higher powered. Of course, like if you Thunderbolt a Spear Tip and your opponent has a Geralt of Rivia, they get a lot of points. So don't stack your units higher than you have to. But Thunderbolt is really good for, maintaining dominance. Alpha Werewolf, Immunity, Thrive. Immunity means it cannot be targeted by anything. So this guy is pretty safe from removal. And Thrive is boost this unit by 1 whenever an ally with higher power is played. So Nithral is... So if Alpha Werewolf comes down at 4, next turn you play Nithral, who is 5, that's higher power, this boosts himself up to 5. Next turn you can play Griffin, ooh, that's 8, that's higher than 5. It goes up to 6. And you play another Griffin, which is higher than 6 as well, so it goes up to 7. Spear Tip, you see the drift. You see the drift. Keep in mind that Osrol consumes the unit before it hits the board, so this, consuming a Griffin, comes down as a 9, and any Thrive that is 8 or lower, like that ever happens, will be triggered. So this doesn't count as a 1 for the sake of Thrive, it counts as 1 plus whatever it consumes. Bowser's Thunder, it's just a decent control card, it's nothing spectacular. You can kill a lot of important cards with 5 power though, so... eventually this will be cut from your deck once you optimize, but for the time being, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Ghoul. Consume a bronze unit in your graveyard. So it's kind of like Osrol, except you cannot consume from your opponent's graveyard, and you can't consume gold cards. So you cannot eat Spear Tip with this. But you can eat the Griffins. In this particular deck, the Griffin is the only thing that is worth eating, but like there are cards like Ice Troll, which is a bronze, Ice Giant, which is 7 points. If you were to consume that with Ghoul, it would come down as an 8. Trigger some Thrive, and only for 6 provisions. So in this particular deck, maybe cut one of the Ghouls, or put in Ice Giants. But just as it is, it might be not that good to have 2 Ghouls. I don't know. Wild Hunt Warrior. Damage an enemy unit by the number of Wild Hunt units you control. So Wild Hunt is a tag, as you can see under the name. It says Wild Hunt and Warrior, which is also its name. It only has a reach of 1, which I haven't seen until now. So that will hinder this card a lot, but most of the time you'll at least be able to get value. If it's not removal value, it's point value. Nithral is a Wild Hunt unit. If you have another warrior on the board, that's a Wild Hunt unit. We have Wild Hunt Riders, which are Wild Hunt units. And on deploy, if you have dominance, so if you have the highest unit on the board, or you're tied for the highest unit, you'll summon the other copy of the Wild Hunt Riders. So it's very cheap deck thinning. This deck should be able to maintain dominance, at least for a turn, so you can get this shit out. So you can get these guys out of your deck. Wild Hunt Hound is also a Wild Hunt unit. You damage an enemy unit by 1, but if you have dominance, you damage it by 3. 3 damage is pretty good. So this is a fine card. And the last Wild Hunt card is Wild Hunt Navigator. Boost an ally unit by 1. Dominance, boosted by 3 instead. So, it's the boost version of this. It costs 1 less and has 1 less power, but they're on par with each other. Not a spectacular card by any means. You'll cut this pretty early. Same with the Wild Hunt Warriors, but as long as you're playing the Warriors, you should probably play the Navigators just for extra Wild Hunt value. Arcaspore. Damage a random enemy unit by 2. Death Wish, so when it's destroyed, repeat the deploy ability, so 2 more damage to a random enemy. If you destroyed this with Griffin, then you sacrifice 2 points, but you get 2 points off the ability, so it's still an 8-point play. Forgot to mention that also Wild Hunt Navigator, like if you destroyed that with Griffin, that's still fine. And Necker. Deploy, spawn a base copy of this unit, so you get 2 Neckers, 2 1-strength guys with Thrive. We've already gone over Thrive. Easy to remove, but if they don't get removed, then these are sick. That's all I have to say. So, what's the verdict? Of the 3 starter decks that I've reviewed so far, as of this point, this is my least favorite. Like, the leader doesn't do much for the deck. The 3 boost helps with dominance, and shield can protect your stuff. But it doesn't really help that much, and I don't like monsters. Monsters is, or is, what am I trying to say? Monsters and potentially Skellige as well are the 2 most fleshed out factions in my opinion. Like the Monsters faction is really solid, and this deck, I feel this deck doesn't really do it justice. Like it's an okay deck. A lot of these cards are good, and some of them are staples in optimized monster lists. But like I said, like Wild Hunt Warrior is not really good, so you cut that. You want to cut the Navigator. The 2 ghouls right now is a bit too much, I think. Arcaspore is not super good. Griffin doesn't have the proper setup in this deck, so it's fine. But if you want to play monsters, which I recommend you do, monsters is a lot of fun. It's easy to learn, easy to play. But if you want to play monsters, make some modifications to this deck right away. And if you want to see me do that in a video, let me know down below. I'll make a video making changes to the decks, upgrade them. If you want to see me try some gameplay with them at rank 10, let me know. I would be down for doing that for fun. But if you don't want to wait for a video regarding upgrades, you can just join the Ace of Plays Discord down below, where you can ask me and the other people there, who are very helpful people, for help with, building a collection, upgrading your decks, or you can just DM me on Discord, and we can go over your personal collection and your resources that you have at your disposal, and use that to upgrade your decks. Instead of just vague tips for what cards are good, we use what cards you have, and we give you goals. I'm for goals that I'm for, mate. Thank you so much for watching this video. That was not proper Australian. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought, leave a like, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Have a good one.